Hey, my name is Nate with Common Sense Gaming, and I'm back. This is the first video in a couple months, and there's gonna be a couple videos this week on this channel. So let's talk about today's topic. This is some ultra trending popular news. This is outside of even the gaming community. It's gotten so big. And you've all certainly heard about it. This is Epic Games versus Apple and Google. So to give you a rundown of what happened, and I guess I should start this video by saying this is a very high IQ topic of legal problems and issues and overall conversations of like culturally and what is fair for the internet and usage and regarding mobile devices and who really controls what platforms that have gotten so big. It's like Apple's monopoly on blah blah blah. You get what I'm a YouTuber. I play video games for a living. I may not know all the legal jargon and all the different sides of the situation, but from what I see as a consumer, someone that has played games, that's just we're coming from a common sense perspective of an average gamer. Continuing on, in short, what happened is Epic Games updated the mobile version of Fortnite across the Google Store and iOS Store to have a workaround when buying V-Bucks or your skins, however that works. I've never purchased skins from a mobile device. They updated it so that it circumvented the 30% cut that Apple would get and whatever the similar percentage cut, if not the same, Google would get. So in response, because you're not allowed to do that, in response, Google and Apple both took Fortnite off of the store, essentially killing the mobile version of the game. And so then Epic Games sued both Apple and Google and also released a commercial that poked fun at Apple. This was completely like pre-thought out. Epic Games knew that this was all gonna happen and expected this. Epic Games had made a commercial that was a complete redo of Apple's famous 1984 commercial, the one with the girl that throws the sledgehammer and breaks the screen for the Macintosh. You know, I was like negative 20 years old when that came out. Now that's some math for you. I was born in 97. Anyways, Fortnite completely redid that and released it. This is all within like the same day this happened. Epic knew that this would all happen. Apple kind of played into their trap, quote unquote trap. All that Epic wanted to do now was start this conversation and hopefully get the ball rolling on lowering this percentage / getting rid of this complete cut that Apple is getting for their platform. And it's the bigger question of, does Apple have a monopoly on a platform, and are they allowed to effectively kill a service and kill a company's product because they are the only access point and are gatekeeping hardware with software, which is what I think the big issue is here. Like if you own both the hardware and the software, and the software is what, you know, millions of businesses are trying to sell on, and then you are going to purchase via the hardware because you're using the hardware, aka your phone. Does Apple, are they allowed, as big as they have gotten now, are they allowed to keep doing this? Can they say who lives and dies on their platform? Do they have to get a 30% cut? Of course, all this, these same questions go to Google as well. Apparently, so I have an iPhone XR. Apparently on the Google phones and like the Samsung Android type phones, there are like more user controls, which is cool with those phones. That's really cool with those. There's more like customization and user end access that you have. You can circumvent some of this stuff, like the store being exclusive, like iOS is exclusive to the Apple phones, the iPhone. Apparently, like there's ways APK files or whatever download from the internet from the phone, and you can put like Fortnite on the phone again, whatever. However that works, there's workaround. Apple has like a true gatekeep on everything though. So let's look at this situation, and I want to kind of figure out along with you guys here and just go through my mind who I think is in the right and who's in the wrong. Of course, it's not quite that simple. And before we get to pointing out where I think common sense is starting to go away in this situation is, I want to first talk about what Valve had their stance on this. If you guys saw on Twitter, Gabe Newell, who is the face of Valve, is he technically the founder as well? I don't know. We know Gaben is the Lord to us gamers. We love Gaben. We all love Valve Games. So Gaben essentially came out and said this. I'm going to read his quote real fast. "We get a lot more freaked out, not by competition, but by people trying to preclude competition. If you ask us which is scarier, it's people falling in love with Apple's model of controlling everything and having faceless bureaucrats who get to keep your product from entering the market if they don't want it to, or designing a store in a way that minimizes software's value add to the experience," and stuff like that. Essentially, what Gaben is saying, Apple should not be allowed to gatekeep companies from selling on their platform. And because there's no one can do that on the internet. No one is gatekeeping companies on the internet, but on mobile internet. And if you have an Apple phone especially, Apple controls everything, and Apple gets to say who can sell and who can't sell. Basically, Gaben and Valve is in support of Epic Games. So that caused some people on Twitter to say, well, how does that make sense? How can Gaben come out and talk about this when Steam is literally the exact same thing? It is a massive platform for PC players, and developers can sell on it, and they still have to pay a 30% cut. It's a little bit different with Steam, even though I'm not a big fan. I'm glad at what Epic had, even though I love Steam so much more. I like what Epic Games has done to come in with competition and trying to undercut Steam. Where Steam does charge, like I'm guessing it's 30% as well. Steam does charge developers like 30% for their sales, and I think if you sell a ton, it cuts down to 20, something like that. Steam is different because it is software, not gatekeeping hardware. You don't need Steam to still play these games. Like if I want to play Fortnite on my iPhone XR, which is my phone, I have to download it through the iOS store. But now, since Apple decided, no, I can no longer use that service. And where this is especially corrupt is that, think of all the little kids that can only play on their iPads and their phones, or like their mom and dad's phones, and their skins and their entire account, and that they've purchased stuff on this game. It's now gone, and there's nothing they can do. It's just gone. Two companies, Google and Apple, decided that this service should disappear, and this is a cultural icon. It's crazy. But Steam is not software gatekeeping hardware. Steam is not gatekeeping anybody. There's maybe some games that are exclusive to Steam. I think like an indie game that maybe only released. I don't know, but you can still buy physical copies, and a lot of the stuff on Steam you can get somewhere else. Like, you see what I mean? And so that's where it's kind of different. I wish Steam's numbers were a little bit down too, so it wouldn't be as effective to smaller indie companies and whatnot. But the real issue here is that Steam does not control everything. No one is stopping, as another point was, no one stopped Mojang from building Minecraft into its own launcher, and it found success, but you can't do that on Apple's store. And that's where our issue is. And so looking at this with common sense, I understand. I'm trying to understand all sides of the equation here again, and with our common sense glasses on, I can see where Apple is being slighted here, and it's unfair, because Apple's case is completely valid. Their argument is, this is our phone, this is our store, we're not forcing anyone to buy any of this. We did a great job building our product, and we should have a cut of this. It's all ours. No one is being forced to come here. When in reality, if you have an iPhone, you are forced to use the store, and it's become too big, like a monopoly. And when there's no other possible way to use the phone except the way Apple tells you to, that's when it starts to become kind of an issue. So I'd say common sense here says that Valve and Epic are correct. So if you're looking at like what Nathan's stance is, or sorry, I used the wrong name, Nate from Common Sense, if you're looking for the Common Sense gaming stance here, I would say I'm siding with Epic and Valve on this equation. It's not a math problem. Situation. There's our word. I do understand like where Apple and Google are coming from, but I think it's kind of sickening that two companies can snap their fingers and a cultural icon disappears. That does not sit well with me, and I think that in the larger picture, Gaben is correct here, that Apple should not be living in a world where they can control everything and nobody can sell on their service because it's up to Apple. And you have to pay Apple a ton of money. Just think about the billions Fortnite is bringing in from these microtransactions. Apple has been getting 30% of that. That is an incredibly large number for not doing anything except providing a platform. It's still Epic Games footing the bill for the servers, for their games and their players. It is Epic Games doing all of the engineering and gameplay and everything in the game. Apple only has the platform. That's it. Apple provides you the install button. That is it. 30%, please. This is the way you can get to our, so I don't know, how many people own an iPhone? Like a billion? Whatever the number is, it's a ton, hundreds of millions, if not more. Stupidly high number. Same goes with the Google phones, the Samsung Androids, whatnot. It's so sad that this stuff can be gatekept, and that's my take on it. I think it is sickening that two companies can try to gatekeep mobile internet this hard, and they can delete a cultural icon from your phone as if it never happened, all because they didn't get their 30% cut. So I'm really hoping that the lawsuits are going to come and open up the conversation and make some real change about companies being able to go direct to consumer, which I believe is really what's going to end up being what happens, whether it's this year or 10 years from now, 35 years from now, whatever happens in the day of, internet mobile devices. It's people, these businesses are going to be fighting for the ability to go direct to consumer, and Apple and Google will fight that for as long as possible, especially Apple. And so that's where I disagree with Apple. Even though Apple absolutely has a case, this is all their platform, they're not forcing anyone to use it. The problem is they got too big, and it's time to open up the marketplace a bit, and I can't wait for that to happen. And I'm curious to see if you guys are, looking at this from a different point of view and you have a different perspective on it, and where you believe Apple or Google should be the one in the right here, and that these numbers should be enforced, and that they get a cut. I would love to hear you in the comments. I'll be going back and forth with you guys there, and I will see you tomorrow for the next video. That's right, I'm going to say it because I'm going to make it. Have a great night, guys. Take care.